Why for the first time does this whole Epstein situation feel like an actual scandal for Donald Trump? Not just a scandal for people that are critical of him, but a scandal within the very tribe that supports him. So this comes from FrameLab. This is Gil Duran. Trump's Epstein betrayal triggers MAGA hero frame collapse. And this is a really good insight just into how tribalism works and how betrayal works and when it works and why it does and when it doesn't. So I'm going to read this first part just to give you some insight on the psychology of what's happening and why. Donald Trump is currently in a hell of his own making. For years, he amplified conspiracy theories about a pedophile sex trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein. Now that he's back in the White House, he's denying and downplaying the story. He wants his followers to move on, but that won't work. The simple reason, the Epstein story has already been framed in the minds of the MAGA masses. This means Trump's new claims will bounce right off their brains and potentially make them see Trump as a betrayer of trust, at least for a segment of Trump's supporters. For years, Trump's positioned himself as the hero of a very specific story, the crusader against the deep state, the truth teller who would expose corruption, the outsider fighting a rigged system. At the center of this heroic narrative sat the mythical Epstein client list. It wasn't just a document, but a sacred object in the MAGA cosmology, the promised revelation that would vindicate every conspiracy theory and expose every enemy. Trump positioned himself as the keeper of this holy grail of right-wing conspiracy theories. He sold himself as the only leader brave enough to reveal its contents, but now Trump is trying to flip the script. His administration says there's no Epstein client list. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who once said it was sitting on her desk, now denies its existence entirely. That's not just a policy reversal, it's a catastrophic frame collapse, and one that appears to seriously jeopardize Trump. His poll numbers are falling, and a majority of Americans, Democrats and Republicans alike, believe he's hiding something. His usual tactics, like blaming Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, are falling flat. And that's what's interesting about the situation. It's not so much the scandal, it's the fact that he's covering it up. The cover-up is usually what causes the scandal to take place. So, back to the article. To be clear, Trump's base continues to support him, but there are signs of fracture. The base is about evenly split on the administration's actions, meaning there's a higher degree of skepticism that we almost ever see with Trump. And that might actually undersell the level of lingering GOP concern. Trump's followers didn't just want the Epstein files for partisan advantage, they wanted them as proof for their entire worldview was correct. When Trump asked them to move on from the files, he asked them to abandon a key frame that made him their hero. Brains don't work this way. When faced with information that contradicts our deepest organizing principles, we tend to reject the contradictory information entirely. The MAGA adherents who bought into Trump's Epstein conspiracies can't turn back now. The contradiction's too stark, too public, too undeniable. So, what do you think about this? Is it helpful?